Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. A little bit of an update on the 1968 C10 project. This morning, my oldest son Blake and myself got the front clip off of this truck, and we did it in just shy of 2 hours. We weren't rushing around, we weren't, stressed out, pounding around, throwing tools. That was just a nice, easy pace, thinking things over, disconnecting things, marking some stuff. Tagging and bagging the hardware, which there's not a whole lot. But the reason for pulling the front clip off the truck, next, the engine and the transmission are getting pulled out of the truck. I want to paint both of them, clean them up, maybe throw some aftermarket parts on them. I definitely want to go to a serpentine style belt instead of the V belt that's on it now. When it gets wet, it would squeal. The tension on it is never right. It works, but while I have it out, there's some things I want to do. Just dress it up. Might throw a different carburetor on it and something other than this Quadrajet. Although the Quadrajet's treated me right, even entertained going to an EFI setup. But that was the reason for pulling off the front clip, so we could pull the transmission and the engine out at the same time without it being a hassle. It should pick up right out of there and come out really easy. The other reason, or the main reason for pulling the transmission and the motor, is to put in a Going Mountain Speed Shop GMSS on the internet front drop member. What's cool about their front drop member is if you already have existing tubular control arms, you buy this drop member, put it in, you convert your truck over to rack and pinion, so you lose a lot of moving parts on the front and you're off and running. You don't need to go buy a Porter-built drop member with the tubular control arms and all that stuff if you already have tubular control arms. My tubular control arms are chopping block control arms, and they're narrowed and moved front an inch, so you can use any tubular control arms, I believe, but check with them before doing that. So I'm gonna just turn the camera around. I know there's plenty of videos on YouTube showing you where the bolts are, and the hardware for taking off the front clip is one whole unit, but I think it's beneficial if I show you the holes after the fact, since everything's exposed now. That way you know where they're at. You have a clean line of sight on them right now. So let me get the camera turned around and I will show you that. All right. So obviously the cowl needs to come off. I removed the hood. I have switch suspension cowl mounted shocks. Can't speak more highly about them because they're awesome. When you go this low, your factory shocks mounted on the hood, or your factory hinges mounted on the fender here will not work. They'll get into the top of the tire here. So you got screws to go across the top. Before you do that, I remove the hood, remove these screws. If you got wiper blades on there, you need to remove them. Pretty simple removing them. There's a little clip behind here. You kind of got to pop it up or off, and then they'll release. Next, you'll have a bolt here and a bolt here. Take those guys off. I believe there might have been one there. So maybe 3 up here. There is a hole there. I don't remember taking that one off. Nope, that's the antenna. No, that wasn't the antenna. I don't know. Maybe there's 3 up there. I'm sorry. Down here, it got a little tricky for me. You have this one, which is very obvious when you look underneath, but then there's 2 here. You have a nut on this side, and you have the head of the bolt on the inside. Getting in there, one of them seems to want to spin. They're not welded in, so you got to get a 9/16 wrench on these guys. I was able to come in from this angle and get it on both sides, and it worked out good. The one I did have to end up, I think it was the bottom one here, I could get to it. I ended up putting, ended up having to cut it all with a 4.5 inch cutoff wheel. It was rounded after trying to break it loose. Coming around the front of the truck, you have your core support, which comes out with the front clip, obviously. I left the radiator in. You have studs that come out of your core support down through here through a bushing. So you take off your nut. Those both came out. Both sides came out easily for me. Got one over there, and you have one here. Okay. And then the same thing on this side. You have 1, 2, 3, and then there might have been one back there too. I think there was, because we had to open the door. I think that's for the cowl. Cowl, maybe cowl, fender, fender. And then you have the same stuff down there. Whoever had this truck, these rockers are absolutely horrible. So we're going to redo the rockers, cab corners eventually. Your electrical coming through the firewall, you just disconnect that. I marked everything. You know, my truck has special wiring, which someone did that, and I actually think it's house electrical. So I'm on the fence about rewiring the whole truck as well. So yeah, that's really it. Once you get all that stuff, I started here, and I put a jack underneath here with a 2x4, and I popped the core support up just to free it, because it was stuck. You know, it has those rubber bushings on that have been there since 1968. And it didn't want to pop. So put a little bit of pressure on it, and I tapped them with the hammer, and they popped right up. Did a little bit of wiggling back there to get those loose. And my 13-year-old son and myself picked the whole unit up and sat it on the floor in front of us. Not very heavy. One thing I will note that did help us a lot, I see guys struggle it even with a cherry picker. They got to pick it up over the tires when the tires are on here. What we did was I had these wooden blocks, this cribbing under the frame rail in the back, behind the tire, under the cab, and we took the tires and wheels off. So instead of having to lift it up and then over everything and come back down, you know, we thought about that before we did it, pulled them off, and ended up having to lift it very little and just had to come front. So that was simple. I do like this. This is, I think it's called Elkhart Blue. That's the original color of the truck. And while I like dark colored trucks, that keeps coming back to me. And every time I see it, when I take like a nut off or a washer and it's underneath, I'm like, maybe the truck should be blue. Maybe it's more about what the truck wants than what I want. So next step, pull the motor. The motor should be really easy to get the motor. I got to disconnect the fuel line. You got 2 motor mount bolts here, and then there's one, I think, attached to the cross member, so that would free that up. I got my transmission mount in the back, obviously, at the transmission. That's got to come off. And then your power steering lines have to be removed, and any other wires going to the distributor in the back there. If I'm taking the transmission and the motor out, I can leave, or I think I can leave these lines. So that's it in a nutshell, guys. I appreciate you guys checking out the channel. Sorry I'm not uploading videos more frequently, but you know, I got 3 boys, full-time job, beautiful wife. I'm 100% blessed, but I'm busy between sports, school, work. I have a side business doing welding. Sometimes it's hard to find time to make these videos or time to even work on the truck. So right now there's kind of no turning back. We got the truck ripped apart, and because of that, we got to get it back together. So it'll keep my keep my butt in gear. So next video will be, I might shoot a little bit of pulling the motor out, and then from there we'll go on and get that drop member put in, the rack and pinion steering. We'll connect. We'll have to change the steering linkages a little bit, and we'll probably start with that. Then I'll probably do another video on cleaning up the motor. I want to put, instead of the V-belt that's on it now works. Getting the tension set right, and when it gets wet, it seems like it slips and squeals a little bit. I'm going to put a serpentine kit on the front of this. I only have the power steering pump, the alternator, and the water pump, so I should probably be able to pick something up $500-600 on that. I'll let you know what I decide, and then I'm sure we're going to run in a ton of other stuff while we have it apart. So thanks for checking in. I will see you guys on the next video. Any questions, comments, like, comment, and subscribe, as they say on the boob tube. Peace out. God bless.